We're
Yes.
doing today bums.
Yes, we are. We're going to get those, or anatomically called glutes.
Anatomically called glutes. The thing is, I'm very bad with anatomical names, but I do know that I want to feel my bum is toned and firm. I did say we weren't going to be doing that sort of Kim Kardashian disproportionate bum workout.
No.
Yeah, what are we going to be doing exactly, darling?
Okay, we're just going to include some Pilates-esque exercises and work the legs as well, because it is quite hard to just isolate the glutes. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of leg work and working on the hip stabilizers, which are your glute medius muscles that sort of wrap around to the sides. And they're the ones that give you more of that streamlined appearance. Think of like a ballerina. They've got really strong glute medius muscles.
Oh, they do,
So
don't they? Yes.
Yes, they do. So we're going to be doing a lot of that work today. And I would like you to use your mini band if possible.
So there's two things that we really want you to have, and we did suggest you can get these on Amazon. They're like $7.99, $3.99. One is this mini band, and one is this long band. So how many of you actually got them? I'd love to think you have, because they are a key component of today's workout. And I've known people who've got them, managed to get them successfully since Corona. Okay, Nat, yes.
Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of mobility, as we always do, just to wake up the body and get the spine nice and mobile. You can put that yellow band to one side, and you can come down to the mat. And you're going to start off with your cat dog stretch. So you take a deep breath in, flex your spine as much as you can, and then exhale, push your chest towards the ground, pulling the shoulders back, lifting the head a little bit. And again, deep breath in, you flex, lifting the upper mid back. Do you? Yeah. How did you sleep?
I think I must have slept very deeply, but very tightly, because I'm really happy to do this stretch because my whole back feels stiff.
Okay, so we'll spend a little bit of time stretching. And actually, I always ask Trinny how she slept and what her energy levels are, because we train according to that. So if you're really tired, you shouldn't do something that's high intensive. It's quite bad for your nervous system. So we'll spend a little bit of extra time waking up the body. Right, come to your neutral spine now, Trinny. And I want you to lie on your back. So you're going to turn to your side, then lie down on your back. And we're going to come into a spinal rotation. But if you're lying down, it's a little more comfortable. Have your palms turned up to the sky with your arms at 90 degrees. So your palms are turned up, your arms are at 90 degrees. Your legs are bent, your feet are flat down on the ground. Cross your left leg over your right leg. Lift your legs. Yeah, we're going to lift your legs up a little bit and lower them. Then you're going to look to the opposite arm, and you can place the side that your legs are on. You're going to place that hand on top of the knee.
Say that if my left leg is over my right leg, I'm moving my legs to the left.
If your left leg is over your right leg, you're going to move your legs to the right. Okay. So the top leg is the one that's
because I've done it around.
Sorry.
So if my left leg is over my right leg, I turn it to the right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
And then I get that stretch, and I can pull more by holding my...
Yeah. And you can press that right arm down. So you're really going to push the shoulder down towards the ground, and you're going to feel more of a stretch through the chest and taking some nice deep breaths there. On your exhale, you can really relax into the stretch. So you can push the arm down just a little bit more on that out breath. And if your arm's up here and you're really lacking in mobility through the spine, you can actually put a cushion underneath your knees, and that's going to raise them up a little bit to make it a little more comfortable. Okay. And you're going to switch to the other side. And you're going to look in the other direction. So if your legs are to the left, you're going to look to your right. If your legs are to the right, you're going to look to your left. Good. And then taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through a slightly pursed lip, pressing the arm down a little bit more. And you might feel really tight in this position. So if you do, you're going to hold it for a little longer. You can hold it up to 30 seconds. Okay, and then come back to the center, Trinny. I want you to give your knees a hug, rock from side to side. And sometimes when you do this, if you've just sort of woken up, you get a little bit of a crack, your back cracks a little bit, but that feels quite nice. Okay. And now place your feet on the ground. You're going to come into a couple of glute bridges. I want you to reach your arms up towards the sky. So you're going to lift your hands so that your hands are level with your shoulders. And we're still just waking up the back with this one. We're not going into the workout just yet. I want you to tuck your hips in and peel your spine off the mat one vertebra at a time. Really squeezing the backs of those legs. And you get the sensation of dragging the heels to the bum. And then you're going to roll back down one vertebra at a time. And then you lift, exhale to lift. And inhale, you roll back down. So that's mobilizing your spine, but you're beginning to wake up the backs of the legs. So the backs of the thighs, which are your hamstring muscles, and your glute maximus muscles, the big butt muscles at the back. You're going to do a few of these. Good. Going for another 2. Lifting all the way up on that out breath. And 1 more. Good, and then you roll back down. Bring your arms out into a T shape with your hips down the ground. You're going to lift your legs so your knees are bent. You're going to bring the knees over to the right, look to your left. And then back to the center. Bring them over to the left, look to your right. So your arms are anchoring you down in that T position. And you're just getting a little extra movement through the spine, especially that thoracic spine. And 1 more time to the right. Good, and now that cervical spine is moving as well, so your neck. And 1 more time to the left. Back to the center, and place the feet back down. Okay, seeing as we're here, let's wake up the abdominals. I always like to begin by activating the stomach muscles, because then they're fired up a little bit more for the rest of the session. I want you to place your hands behind your head. You're going to bring your legs into a tabletop one at a time, making sure that lower back is down on the mat. Come into a frog position. So your knees are out to the side and your toes are together. So you're actually creating a diamond shape with your legs. Your hands are still behind your head. And you're going to lift your chest, but lower your right foot down. So your chest lifts and you lower your right foot down to tap the ground. And then your head comes back, then you lift your chest again, lower your left foot down. So your legs are in a diamond position.
What's the point of that, Natalie?
Do you ever get the sensation of a sort of a snapping hip if you're cycling the legs, for example? So you get that little, okay, so by outwardly rotating the legs, it prevents that from happening, and it's a way of getting in a little hip opener as well. And I find this one really fires up the lower abdominals. And actually, I was taught this one by a ballerina. She taught me this exercise.
And you always go down with your toe facing downwards. You don't
That's right. This is just the ballet aspect of it, I think. So if you point your toes, I just find it helps to keep everything a little more switched on. You're going to activate the calves a little bit more. And stretch out the front of the leg as well, or the front of the shin. Okay, you're going for another 4 repetitions here, really lifting the chest. Good. Go for 3. That's it. And try not to let the knees creep in towards the torso. Now I want you to lift them.
Should always be perpendicular to your hips.
Yes, so if you've got that 90-degree angle at the hip, you're going to switch on the lower abdominals a little more. Otherwise, you're not really working them at all. You lift and hold your next one, Trinny. I want you to rotate your left armpit towards your right leg as you lower the right leg. Just 6 times to the right. Exhale as you lower the leg. Another 4. Keeping those elbows nice and wide. 3, 2, And one more. That's going to wake up the side of the stomach. Back to the center. You're going to do the same on the left. Lower that left leg, reaching your right armpit towards that left leg. Another 5. Inhale, you lift. Exhale, lower for 4. Good. 3, 2, 1 more. Come back to the center. Keep the toes connected to the knees wide. And you're going to go for little pulses up. Just 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Really lifting that chest.
I hope you're doing it with me because it's beginning to feel.
Another 2. Last 1. And relax. Give those knees a hug. Rock from side to side.
I hope you're doing it with me. I don't know if anyone's on. I think everyone's given up at this stage, Natalie.
No one's given up. We're in it together. We're getting moving.
We're in it together 3 times a week at 8 o'clock. Sorry we were late today. And it's really just not a long time to give to your body to feel good.
No.
That's how we've got to think about it. And then just think of the lovely breakfast you're going to have afterwards. I have a morning like this, the thing I do is to think about the lovely breakfast that I'm going to have afterwards.
It's nice to bring in that routine as well, to start your day with some movement. It's like ticking something off your list. You already feel like you've accomplished something.
I agree.
Okay, so a couple of cat dog stretches, and then you're going to come up onto your feet, and you're going to put the mini band on. Now, a couple of people have said, what if they don't have a mini band? You can still do these exercises. They're not going to be quite as effective, but I'll show you some modifications for some other exercises later on. Oh, we'll do a couple of exercises without the band later on.
I mean, so Trinny, nothing else they could use that?
For this, not unless you've got a long TheraBand, the yellow one, that you can tie up.
Yeah.
You could tie it up. There's not. You kind of need the mini resistance band. And I know that Amazon may be a bit behind on their orders, so it might not arrive for a little while, but then we could be locked in for quite a while. So
yeah, and you know what, Natalie? I agree that even without it, it's good because it's all about, what is it when you use your body to get your body toned?
What do you mean?
Expression, it's not acetogenic or...
Oh, calisthenics, yes.
Yeah.
Calisthenics.
So just feel your body.
Yeah, absolutely. You're still going to use those muscles. Right, mini band is going to go around your ankles. We're going to start off with a mini band around your ankles. And we're going to do a straight leg walk with a mini band around your ankles.
Okay.
You have your hands on your hips or in front of your chest. Legs are straight, hips are tucked in, and you walk sideways. And with this, you want to try not to move the torso like this, because then you're going to switch off those core muscles, and you want to be working them as much as you can, whenever you can. So your hands are nice and relaxed, or arms are relaxed, shoulders are set back, and I'm going to do this to the side so you can see I'm tucking my hips in, which is preventing that lower back from hinging out too much. You're going to switch on the lower abdominals.
I'm tensing everything, is that right, Natalie? Just tense, sucking it in.
Absolutely right. You want to tense as much as you can. So you're switching on more muscles at one time. So the legs are beginning to fire up. You should start to feel
the legs are really firing up.
Good.
Because I am tensing, because normally there's my bum, and tensing just gives it a different...
Gonna lift it a little bit. Okay. So we're going to go for another couple of these. Good, and then walking back, and you're going to come into some squats. So I want you to have your feet a little wider than the hips, so shoulder width, and you can have your toes turned out a little bit, or your feet parallel. That's whichever is more comfortable for you. Then you're going to come into a squat. Squeeze your glutes when you stand. Inhale, you push back into your squat. Exhale, drive up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and squeeze the backs of those legs. Really drive up through those heels so you feel that energy coming up through the backs of the legs.
What's the most important thing to remember in a squat, Nat, if you've felt you've never been good at squats?
The most important thing to remember is keep your heels on the ground. You want to have your toes on the ground as well, but if you find that you're rocking forwards onto your toes, just a couple of times if you lift your toes, that's going to push you back onto your heels. And if you're driving up through the heels, you're going to prevent any aggravation for those knees. So it's quite, it can be pretty unhealthy for your knees if you're squatting and the weight's coming forwards.
Yeah.
You also want to push the knees out. So if the knees are collapsing in, you're not using your butt muscles. So you want to push those knees out to the side. So yeah, knees out and heels down on the ground firmly. Go for another 2. Good. 1 more. And then you're going to hold the squat. Thumbs up to the sky. You're going to lift and lower those arms. So you're getting in a little bit of shoulder mobility, and you're holding those legs in an isometric contraction. So you're not moving them, they're just working, but the muscle is still. Okay, going for another 2. 1 more. Good, and then stand up, Trinny. You're going to move the band up to mid-shin level. I'd love to know if people are joining in with this workout.
Well, I think if we have something they don't have, it's harder for them to do it.
It is, but this exercise...
And look, Natalie, I just have to get some water 1 second.
Okay. This exercise you can definitely do without a band. So if you don't have a band, then you can do this anyway. So band is just a little something extra. Okay, right. You're going to push those hips back with this one. The band is mid-shin. And then you're going to hold a semi-squat position with your hands in front of the chest, shoulders step back. And then you extend and bend one leg.
Oh.
Are you ready, Trinny?
Yeah, sorry, you know what I did? I'm feeling really tired. I took some vitamin C.
Ah, okay.
Liquid. Okay,
yeah.
So this is just on my shin.
Shin. So halfway between your knees and your ankles.
Yeah.
You're going to push your hips back and extend your left leg and bring it back. So your left extends and bends. I'm putting a timer on. You're going to do this for 30 seconds on each side.
And if you don't have the band, it still is a good one, isn't it?
It's still effective. It's still effective. So if you don't have the band, you can still do this. Now, the important thing to remember here is to keep the leg that is not moving completely stationary. So that's your right leg.
Yeah.
So this side does not move. The hip is nice and still. The hips are pushed back, tucked in a little bit. Shoulders are back, so we're not curving our spines like this. We're keeping the spine nice and neutral. That's it. And exhale as you extend the leg. Inhale to bring it back in. Going for another 2. 1 more. And switch to the other side. Now, I don't know about you, Trinny, but that was definitely beginning to burn my leg.
That is really, I'm really beginning to feel it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even without a band, I would be.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's just that thing you're saying of keeping that leg totally straight. I always used to think these kind of things were about the leg you were moving. Until last week when you told me it's about the leg that doesn't move.
Exactly. Because that one isn't, you know, this leg is just an accessory. This one is the one that is really working hard.
Yeah.
And because you've got the band, when you push it out, your glute has to really work so that you're not going with the band. Going for another 2. 1 more. And stop. Stand up for a second, just to give the glutes a little bit of a rest.
Yeah.
And we're gradually moving the band up our legs. So now you're going to lift the band so it ends up just below your knees, or you can have it directly around your knees.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to come into a squat stance. You can use your mat for this to just walk a few lengths up and down your mat. You're in your squat, your hips are pushed back, hands in front of the chest, and walk sideways, pushing those knees out. You want to maintain tension on the band the whole time. So you're not letting your knees come together, you're pushing them out, And that way you're going to feel those glute medius muscles switch on.
They're switching.
Good. So your shoulders are set back and you're walking from one side to the other. Nice deep breaths. And you may even start to notice that your heart rate is beginning to elevate a little bit as well. Okay, Trinny, you're going to go for another to the end and back. Good, shoulders are set down. And then we're going to add on just a little finisher to this one. Stay nice and low. You're going to go for knee kicks. You're going to bring that left knee and then kick it out to the side 10 times. 9, 8, 7, staying nice and low. Bring the feet a little bit further apart, Trinny. Good. 3, 2, 1, switch sides. Go for 10. 9, shoulders are set back. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stand. Now, those glutes.
I felt that also a little bit in my knees.
You did feel it a bit in your knee. Okay. So that just means that a different muscle was beginning to take over as you were getting more tired in the exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so the band is going to stay on, but we're going to move down to the mat. Now, Trinny, you can use your step for this.
Okay.
It's to do a glute bridge.
Okay. So if someone doesn't have at home now a step, we always suggest the sofa.
Yeah, which is what I'm about to use. So I'm going to use my sofa because I don't have a step.
Or a low stool.
Or a low stool or a step. As long as it's stable, you can use your stairs. I've used my stairs before. A coffee table, anything you can find.
Okay.
Or if your feet are on the ground, that's also absolutely fine.
Okay.
So you're lying down on your mat. The band comes up to just above the knees.
Just get that ready.
And your heels are down on your step or the ground. You can have your hands flat down or your arms lifted. The choice is yours.
Okay.
You tuck your hips in, lift up into your glute bridge. One vertebra at a time. Then you're going to push the knees out to the side, bring the knees back towards each other, and then roll down again. Deep breath in. Exhale, you tuck in, lift up, push those knees out, bring them back together, and then roll back down.
I feel you're building up something that's going to become difficult.
Oh, Trinny, you know me so well. This is a nice, friendly exercise so far. This is, we like this one. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
But effective. If you don't have a band, don't worry about it. It's still a really great exercise because you're still going to feel it. Even just that little push out to the side, you're still working on those hip stabilizing muscles. And you want to be drawing the belly button in towards your spine. You keep those ribs down by feeling that you're getting that connection with the stomach. And going for another 2, Trinny. Lifting right up. Good. One more, you lift and hold. Little pulses, pushing the knees out to the side now, 10 times. 8, 7, really tucking those hips. If you need to lower a little bit for your back, then you can. Really squeezing the bum as much as you can. And push and hold your next one. So you've got that resistance. You're going to lower halfway, lift up all the way. Nice big pulse for 10. Going for 8. Exhale, lift. For 6. Push those knees out. 5, 4, 3, 2. Lift and hold. Keep pushing those knees out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Feel the fire. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Roll down. Give those knees a hug. Rock from side to side.
Did you feel that, ladies? I felt it.
I felt it too. Definitely waking up the behind. Right. Now you're going to have your left heel on the bench. Bring your right knee towards your torso. Lift those hands up towards the sky. You're going to tuck your hips in, lift up into a single leg glute bridge. And we're just going to do 6 of these. Because of the band, it does make it quite difficult for the back of the leg. And this one focuses a lot on the hamstrings. So more just the back of the thigh rather than the glute. It's quite difficult to really lift to switch that glute on, but if you are switching it on, then that's amazing. It means you've got strong hamstrings. Going for another 2. Good. One more, lift and hold. 10 pulses up, going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, lift nice and high, 2, 1, roll down. Give those knees a quick hug, rock from side to side.
God, I felt that.
Oh yes, me too. Right, you're going to face your right.
Because I really felt that. If you're doing this later, we're with you. Okay.
Yeah, we feel the pain, but good pain. Right, you're going to tuck it and lift up, and then roll back down. So that right side is now feeling nice and fresh, fresh as a daisy. Exhale, lift. Inhale, low. Really driving the heel in, tucking in those hips so you're not hinging into that back. I often see people just lifting, but they've got no connection with the abdominals. You want to really tuck in. Lift and hold your next one. 10 pulses up. Go for 10, 9, 8. Squeeze as much as you can. Squeeze like you've never squeezed before. Going for another 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll down. Give those knees a big hug. Rock from side to side.
I just got to open the window now.
Okay, right. Okay, we're going to keep the band on for now, and this one you can do without the band.
I just need the glass.
Yes. See, the work is real. We're working hard. The windows are opening. Water is being consumed. Yes. So you're going to come hands down under the shoulders, knees under the hips.
Yeah.
And let's start off with a cat dog stretch just to loosen up, make sure the back's nice and flexible. And then you come to neutral. Now, neutral is really important with this exercise. You want to keep the stomach switched on, hips tucked in, and you're going to lift your right footprint to the sky. So just that right foot, you keep lifting it up to the sky. So you're feeling the right glute maximus, that big gluteal at the back is switching on. Good. Now, Trinny, I want you to lift it as high as you can. You're here for 30
Now
seconds.
I have the band on.
Yes.
Is
your band not on?
It is on. It's just a bit harder with the band.
Oh, yes, that's what we want. So you keep lifting. Good. 15 seconds to go. Lift that upper mid back to the sky so you're protracting. That's it. You can move the band. Do you want to get rid of it, did you say?
No, I just got a bit of cramp.
Oh, okay. Right. Rest for a second.
How do you stop yourself having cramp doing this? Because I have very short hamstrings.
So it's really just about, they're probably just a little bit tired, and it's that lactic acid building up. So having a rest for a second and throughout the day, making sure that you're getting plenty of electrolytes as well. So you want to keep your electrolyte levels high to prevent muscle cramps. Right, you've got one more, Trinny.
So how do you keep your electrolytes high, Natalie?
Okay, so actually having a little squeeze of lemon and some Himalayan salt, a little bit of Himalayan salt in some water in the morning is good. Or you can buy actual electrolytes from the shop. Now you're going to switch to the other side. So you lift that right footprint up towards the sky. Keep lifting little pulses up, really squeezing the glutes. Try and get that glute active. Keep the foot flexed. Good. Keep pushing up. And if you work on the imagery of leaving a footprint on the ceiling or the sky, you're going to be able to lift a little bit higher. If your back and neck is beginning to fatigue, come down onto your forearms, and that will take some of the pressure away. So Trinny, if you come onto your forearms, that's going to become a little more comfortable. And you're going just for another 3, 2, 1, and stop. Rest in child's pose. Then take a deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to stack up your spine. And walk your hands towards your feet. Slowly come up, and you can take that band off.
Oh.
Yes, you don't need the band anymore. And Trinny, if you can, let's do a couple of leg swings just to loosen up the hips.
Okay.
Make sure they're nice and loose. It's easier to hold onto a wall or to a doorway. You just bring the leg across the body, but you want to let it feel really, really heavy. And that's going to sort of decompress the top of your thigh bone from your hip socket.
I learned this from a ballet dancer.
Yeah, this one's a great one. Really helps to loosen the hips up. And after all that glute work or the butt work, they're going to be quite tight. Go for another 2. Good. Come up to your mat. Okay. Now you're going to take a wide stance on your mat. And you don't need any equipment for this. And you're going to come into a side lunge. So your hips are pushed back as if you're going to squat. Then you come back to the center, squeeze the backs of the legs, and then you're going to push to the other side. So come back to the center, and then switch. So you're traveling to the side with this exercise. That's it, really pushing the hips back. Try to have your toes turned forwards for this one, Trinny, so your feet are parallel. And the same rule, if you like, applies to this exercise as it does to your squat. So the heels are really screwed into the ground.
So nearly your toes off the floor, just to give you that over-exaggeration.
Exactly. If you need that proprioceptive cue, then lifting your toes is really helpful. Good. And we're doing this for 60 seconds. 30 seconds to go. And then we're going to change the exercise. That's it. So you start to work the side of the leg and the glutes are working. Good. Deep breath in, push into the side lunge. Exhale, come out of it. Nice. Going for another 4.
Come on, ladies, if you're joining in, it's only probably another 15 minutes to go.
3.
So simple. Half an hour exercise. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Trinny TV. Today we're doing bottoms, which you call glutes.
Glutes, that's right.
And on
Last
Wednesday,
one.
what are we doing, Natalie?
We're doing
Tums.
tums.
And then Friday we're doing arms.
Arms, yes. Okay, you can do your last one now, Trinny.
Yeah.
And stand. Okay. Now, this is going to cue you for the next exercise. We're going to bring in a little tiny bit of cardio, but just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And it's a skater. So you can actually, you're going to walk, sort of leap across the mat, or you can step across the mat and come into sort of a curtsy lunge. So I'll do it from the side so you can see me. So you jump and then lift the arm, bring the arms out to the side. So you leap, that's it. Leap, and this is similar to that.
Arms going, Nat?
Right, when you jump, if you bring them out to the side, that's going to help you with balance, but momentum as well. Then if your left leg is bent, your right arm is forward, as if you're running. And this is called a skater. So you jump, good, and switch. And then if you get really good at this, you can go nice and fast. But today we're going to just take it a little easy. That's it. Good. And it's a single leg exercise, so you are really working the muscles hard without adding any weight, which is important. Because we don't all have weights at home. Good, nice deep breath. Inhale. So inhale as you leap. Good, going for 4. And 3, 2, 1, and stop.
So it's all about balance as well.
Absolutely, and because you're working on your balance, you're using a lot of little muscles. So it's not just about the big muscles, it's about the little muscles that have to work. Okay, Now, just to give the legs a rest for a second, you're going to come into a plank. I want you to roll down, walk your hands out into a high plank. And from here, you're just going to do 10 knee lifts. So you're going to lift your left knee to your left elbow, place the foot back. Then lift your right knee to your right elbow, place the foot back. You've got another 8. Exhale, lift. That's it, bringing the knee to the outside of the elbow. Good. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Stop there, walk your hands back to your feet. Good, and then stand up, nice and tall. Okay, now we're going to come into that same series of exercises again. So 60 seconds, side lunge. And you can work with the time here as well. So if you go slowly and then hold for a second, fast up, that's a way of making it a little more difficult. And you can actually start to feel the glutes fire up. If you go slowly, pushing to the side, pause, drive up fast. Good. And then you want to keep the feet parallel here, Trinny, so the toes are turned forwards. That's it, 30 seconds to go. So I'll just do it from the side so people can see. And lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale to drive up. And I think of it as sort of traveling to the side. A smooth movement. Good. Going for another 2. That's it. And last one. We'll start off on, or you finish on the opposite side, because that's that's it. And stand. Now we've got the skaters. So you're leaping, switching from side to side. That's it. You can put that foot down behind you, Trinny. You probably can't see it on my mat, but you can put the foot down behind you. So you jump, tap. So that foot can go on the ground behind you, like a curtsy lunge. That's it. That's going to give you a little bit more balance. Good. Inhale. Exhale as you land. Nice. And then as you get better and better, you can start to go faster and faster. Sit good. Going for another 15 seconds. And then you've got that plank variation. One more time. Good. Last 4, 3, 2, 1 more. And stop. Come down to your mat. And you're going to come into that plank variation. So the left knee to your left elbow, then the foot back, then your right knee to your right elbow. This is called a Spider-Man plank. Good, hips tucked in, so the hips stay level with the shoulders the whole time. And by lifting the knee, you are still using that glute. Good, going for another 3. Good. Or finishing off on that right side, last one. Walk your hands towards your feet. Good, maybe have a nice big stretch, reaching the arms above the head. Good, and come into your leg swings. Now we've got one more series of exercises, 2 more exercises left.
Yeah.
Times 2. So we're not doing 3 rounds today, we're just doing 2 rounds.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so your next one is a plie squat.
Okay.
So your toes are turned out, your stance is a little wider than normal. And to find your turnout, you start off with your feet together and parallel, and just turn the toes out as much as you can without it aggravating your knees, then step to the side. So unless you're a ballet dancer, your turnout's not going to be huge, so don't force it. That's really important. Don't force your turnout.
Yeah.
You're going to keep your hips tucked in as if you're in between two panes of glass. And you're going to sink into your squat, pushing the knees out, and then you stand, squeeze your bum. So you lower and then lift. Good. Knees pushed out to the side. Don't worry how big your turnout is. We're not ballet dancers just yet anyway.
What's the most important thing in this exercise, Natalie?
That you keep your hips tucked in. So it's not a squat. You're not going back like this. You're just sinking down to the ground.
So up and down. Okay.
You're up and down between two panes of glass. You're pushing your knees out so you feel that you are firing up those glutes. Drawing the belly button, you're zipping up your midline. Feel that you're beginning to squeeze the inner thigh muscles as well as you stand. Good. Going for another 3. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. 2. Lower and hold. Little pulses for 10, or a static hold if this aggravates your knees. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stand. Okay, you come to your mat. We're going to add a glute exercise plus a core and arm exercise. So your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, upper mid back lifted, belly button lifted. Hover your knees in the air. Then you lift your left footprint to the sky. 10 little pulses up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Knees down. Rest for a second. Now that exercise doesn't look like much, but that is difficult, I can assure you.
Yeah, I really feel it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, next one, working the other leg. Hover those knees, right footprint to the sky. Little pulses for 10. 9, that left knee needs to hover above the ground. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knee down. Rest in child's pose for a second. And then slowly stack up, roll those shoulders back, come up onto your feet, and you're back to those pliés. Okay, so toes are turned out, hips are tucked in.
This time. Do you want to go front?
Yes, right. Hips are tucked in, and you just sink down. If you could put one hand on your lower belly, and then one hand behind the small of your back, or on the small of your back, you can kind of feel whether you're pushing back or not. And I want you to just stay tucked in, lower all the way down, and lift, zipping those inner, or feel like you're zipping the inner thigh muscles, really squeezing those bottoms. You inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Trinny, try and stay as upright as possible. Don't worry about how low you go. Push the knees out. What's the
most important thing to remember in this, Natalie?
The most important thing,
stay as upright as possible.
To stay as upright as possible and push the knees out and tuck the hips in. So you're not pushing back like that, you're tucking in, squeezing your bum already before you even go into your plie. And then you're going to feel this exercise so much more. You've got 3. Good. 2. Lower and hold. Little pulses or a static hold for 10, 9, 8. Push those knees out as much as you can. Try and lift your heart towards the sky so you're lifting your chest. 3,
I'm going to be static
2,
because I'm keeping my
1.
knees.
That's fine. And you can, because Trinny, you can just hold a static one. As you don't have to go low into it. Just a little hold so you feel like you've got some activation.
Yeah.
Okay, right. You're going to come into the last exercise, which is that plank variation with the leg lift. So your hands are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips, toes are tucked, belly button lifted, hover those knees. And then little pulses up with that left foot for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Really squeezing your bum. 2, 1, foot down. Knees down, rest for a second. Then you're going to do the same on the other side, and then we're into stretching. Okay, hover those knees. Right footprint lifts, little pulses up, up. Good, for 8. Good, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Foot down, knees down. Rest in child's pose. Good. Take a deep breath in and then exhale. Come back into that 4-point kneeling position and flex and extend your spine.
For anyone still with us, it's just 5 more minutes of stretching and we're done.
Yes. Deep breath in, extend, good. And one more. Come to neutral, good. Then you're going to bring your right foot forward to come into your hip flexor stretch. Hips tucked in. Squeeze that left buttock so that you are switching off the hip flexor. Lift your left arm to the sky and lean to the right. So the knee that is down on the ground is the side that you're lifting the arm. So if your left knee is down, your left arm is lifting. And then you lean away. And here it's really important not just to hang into your flexibility, because you're actually not stretching the hip flexors then. You want to tuck the pelvis under, and you're going to get a much better, more accurate stretch. Come to the center. Bring your left foot forward. Send your right foot back, knee down on the ground. Hips tucked in, deep breath in, you reach. And then exhale, lean to the left. Good.
Also putting my arm up so it's over my head, not in front of it.
Exactly, you want to lift and reach as far as you can. And back to the center. Good, place your hands down either side of that foot. And then you need to step forwards. And I want you just to hang down, lengthening the backs of the legs. Good, so you're getting a nice hamstring stretch in, so you feel that the hamstrings are stretching out. And if you push your hips back a little bit, as if you're straightening your spine, you're going to feel a deeper stretch. Good, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to slowly roll up. And I want you to take a seat on your bench for the next stretches. So you're going to use the bench to stretch. You can use a chair, you can use anything for this. So you're going to start off with your hamstring stretch, but you're seated. So your toes are turned up and you're going to reach down. If you can grab hold of your feet, then go for it. Otherwise, if you've got a dressing gown cord or even a towel or a band, you can pull on that if you're not too flexible, so that you've got a little something to grab hold of and pull you forwards. Toes flexed, keep forward folding.
Feeling that.
Good, you will do because you've worked your hamstrings as well, so you're going to feel it a little more intensely. And just breathe into that stretch, taking deep breaths through the nose. As you exhale, feel that all of the tension is just melting away from your body, and you can push forwards a little bit more. Take another deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to start to stack up, and you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee. Then if that's a stretch already, stay where you are. Otherwise, you're going to bring your left foot towards the bench and then lean forwards in a figure 4 stretch. Now, this is a variation of, say, pigeon pose in yoga, pigeon stretch, but it's much easier to get into and much easier to hold, more comfortable for your joints. And again, every out breath, see if you can push forwards a little bit more. And then you're going to switch to the other side. Good, and then lean forwards a little bit more. And you might find that one side is tighter than the other side. So Trinny, you've been doing this stretch regularly all week or last week. Do you feel that it's
I
more...
just feel that my side is opened much more.
Yeah.
And when I lean in, I mean, I still feel that stretch, Natalie, when I lean in. But I try to do this also when I'm on the computer during the day,
Great.
doing virtual meetings. So some people do wonder why I'm doing this into the computer screen. But it just really helps me, because if I'm, I try and move around during the day a lot, but if I'm having 2 or 3 hours after each other in front of the computer screen, then I really need.
And you need that stretch, because sometimes if your lower back is feeling tight, it's because your butt muscles are really tight.
Yeah.
So now you're going to come into a hip opener. Your knees are apart. Push your elbows into your knees and lean forward. So that's going to stretch the inner thigh muscles.
Are my feet together?
Your feet are apart for this one.
Okay.
You can come into more of a butterfly stretch, lean forwards, but if you're sat quite high up, it's not so easy to get into the stretch. So you push your knees apart, push your hips back, as if you're pushing your bum towards the windows there. Elbows push into the knees. And then eventually this is bring your feet a little further apart, Trinny.
Yeah.
Feet further apart, that's it. And then eventually, say next week or the week after, you'll be able to do this on the ground.
Like you, Natalie. Are we done?
You are done.